My take on the last administration. The following is my assumption about the last administration, and they are not based on empirical data. However, they are based on how I perceive things as an observer of the Nigerian politics. In 2015, a man sprang up after trying 3 times to gain the #1 seat in the land and failed. He tried again in 2015, and this time, he won.
I, Muhammadu Buhari, do solemnly swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
I was in my 300 level that year when he took over office, though I can still recall myself screaming on the top of my voice saying, "It is very much impossible to task an uneducated man with the job of leading a nation." Amongst other things that was wrong with him, his educational qualification was the biggest deal breaker for me. Speaking from my own experience, in 2015, I was a student of the Department of Political Science, and I can tell clearly that anybody who had not attained at least a secondary school education and cannot understand basic economics or the theory of demand and supply cannot move any nation 1 inch forward. However, I also remember that over 70% of my lecturers, who were doctors and professors of political science, were very sure that after all permutations and studies, they have come to the conclusion that Buhari was the man to lead Nigeria to that promised land. Fast forward to today, my stance needs no more vindication. Now my question to you is this: what are the variables that brought about the failure of Buhari's administration? We can name countless number of items on this list, but I will simply pick one, and I will justify the reason why I picked this very item. Doggedness. That word is often mistaken for being stubborn, but I strongly think they mean 2 different things. What does it mean to be dogged? This means having or showing tenacity and grim persistence towards a particular line of thought or action. Let me give you an insight of what I think the ordinary life of a president looks like. I think the ordinary life of a president comes with his desire to use the powers within his disposal to administer meaningful change and growth in the life of the people he leads. Will you agree with me that no leader has ever accomplished greatness without having a dogged personality? The HR of an organization needs to be dogged to manage the human resource within the organization. A CEO needs to be dogged if he is to meet the target for the month or rival competitors. As such, a leader needs to be firm in his or her decision, not soft or yielding to pressure, if he is to make meaningful change within an already corrupt polity. You will also agree with me that in this past administration, Nigeria lacked focus.
Aisha Buhari, wife of Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari, says she may not support a second-term bid of her husband. Mrs. Buhari is calling for a shake-up within the government. She told the BBC Hausa service in an interview published on Friday that her husband did not know most of the government officials he had appointed and that many had been nominated due to the influence of a few people. Asked about whether the husband was in charge, she said that is left for the people to decide.
We could never tell what the president believed in. There was no way to define or classify his line of thought. That was why he could not even confirm to his people, as the GCFR, who ordered his troops to the Lekki toll gate without his permission. He wanted to solve the problem of insecurity, but will not fire or sue Pantami. He even had to make room for repentant Boko Haram. He gave the go-ahead to redesign the Naira, but will not support the policy with executive might. He never obeyed or respected the judiciary, even if he wanted to. You see, the political landscape of Nigeria is infested with bad leadership, which makes it hard for any president to make decisions void of political manipulation against the will of the people. Read my lips. I am of the view that Buhari, while in office, may have signed lots of documents without taking his time to read and understand the content of the documents being signed. All I'm trying to say here is that it takes more than having the interest of the people at heart to rule a nation. It takes a great deal of courage, doggedness, and the ability to independently read and understand articulately before signing off any document. Need I say more? The hardest thing to manage in life is people, and the hardest set of people to manage in life are politicians. So know this and know peace. You can never be a better president to your people if you lack the capacity to read a document and understand perfectly well its impact on your people. You cannot also be a better president to your people if you cannot manage the ruling class around you. Thus, a leader may be firm and dogged, but also needs the strength and capacity to read and understand.